We are a little over a month away from the start of the 89th legislative session. A record number of bills, over 1,500, were filed on day one of pre-filing. Accordingly, the debate on details on bills can get overlooked, even on critical legislation. That's why we've asked legislators to come to TPPF to discuss their bills to ensure you are on top of the most important issues making their way through the Texas Capitol. This is the layout. I'm Jose Melendez, Campaign Director of TPPF's Taxpayer Protection Project. Today we are discussing House Bill 530 with Representative Ellen Troxclair from House District 19. Representative Troxclair, welcome to the layout.
Thank you so much for having me.
House Bill 530 seeks to prohibit guaranteed income programs in Texas. Tell us what sparked the need for this legislation.
Well, we are seeing municipalities like Austin and Houston, as well as places around the country that are implementing basically free money giveaway programs. The problem is that somebody is paying for those, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. It doesn't fall out of the sky. And so in order to fund guaranteed income programs, you are taxing the people who can least afford it. The middle class, the people who don't quite qualify for subsidization, but also cannot afford the increase in taxes. If we care about our thriving economy and making sure that we're all working together for the betterment of our communities, we need to get rid of guaranteed income programs because they are undermining all of that.
Would you take a moment to take us through the bill and tell us how it works?
Sure. It basically preempts local governments from implementing free money programs, which is what I call them. I mean, it is basically a form of socialism. And in case you haven't been to history class in a while, socialism has been tried. It doesn't work. And these programs ultimately encourage and incentivize people to remove themselves from the workforce. In fact, studies have shown in places that have implemented this that it leads to a 14% decrease in participation in the workforce. And when that happens, there are other societal impacts too. For example, those people who are able to participate in a job but choose not to are more socially isolated. That can lead to depression. They're more likely to commit crimes because they have a lot of time on their hands, and they are more likely to get addicted to drugs. So when you are looking at this from the big picture, it might seem like an easy option to say, hey, you know what? This person deserves a few extra $1,000 this month or this year. But when you look at what it causes both to the individual and to their community, the impacts are detrimental.
So how would the lives of Texans be impacted should this pass and be implemented?
Well, basically, we are doing everything we can to make sure that the Texas miracle continues, right? That our economy is strong. It's not just the solutions to a problem of a society in poverty is to lift them up by providing opportunities, right? We have a vested interest in making sure that we have low taxes. So it's inexpensive for people to buy a home or purchase food for their families. We want to make sure that we have a strong economy so that they're able to get a job, that anybody can go out and get a vast array of jobs in an industry that is interesting to them so that they can turn around and provide for their family. What we don't want to do is create a government dependency program that traps people in a cycle of poverty. And that is exactly what guaranteed income programs will do. It says to people, instead of going out and earning the best that you can to provide the best life possible for your kids and your family, we want to trap you over here because it's easier to just wait for a check in the mail from the government. In the short term, that might sound great to some people. In the long term, it's detrimental to their families and to society as a whole. And so just like many other things that Texas has a vested interest in when it's things that affect our state as a whole, like our economy, it is absolutely our responsibility to make sure that we keep our state thriving, we keep our economy moving, and that we prohibit guaranteed income programs that are irresponsible and harmful in Texas.
So some people may say that due to economic downturns, government programs like this are needed, how would you respond to those
I
people?
would say actually the exact opposite is true, right? In a government downturn, for some reason, liberal government's response tends to be to increase taxes on everybody because they don't have to make a paycheck, right? Ta- Taxing entities have an unlimited money coming in from the taxpayers because they have the sole ability to take money from your pocket. And that is exactly the time when those taxpayers need it most. That is exactly the time when they are least likely to be able to turn over that money to the government. And so what we see is we are growing the people who end up in poverty because in times of crisis, we increase their taxes and decrease their ability to provide for their families. So in times of crisis, what we need to do is do everything we can to allow those families to keep more of their own money in their own pocket and not turn it over to the government. And of course, that is why we have churches and nonprofits and true safety nets for the people who cannot, who do not have the ability to work, right? There's true safety net programs for them. But for able-bodied adults, being in the workforce is the best way to pull our economy out of poverty and to provide for their family in the meantime.
What kind of feedback have you received since filing this bill?
We're gonna have the same fights between some of the liberal big cities and the state of Texas, but the reality is we have a good thing going here in the state. It is one of the best places to be. It is the 7th largest economy in the world. We are doing a lot of things right, and we are not going to stand by while liberal cities try to destroy that. We're going to do the opposite. We are going to do everything that we can to make sure that Texas remains a beacon of liberty and freedom for many generations to come.
Representative Troxclair, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.